A broad stakeholder consultation was held to discuss adaptation measures aimed at strengthening climate resilience within St. Lucia's tourism sector. Officials at the Sustainable Development Department noted that while tourism is a cornerstone of the economy, it remains susceptible to climate change, especially weather events. Health crises also pose a threat to the industry.
Hurricanes is a phenomenon that we face. It's something that is very real, and of course, we know that the climate, those impacts of climate change is very real to tourism. COVID-19, we experienced how the industry came to a halt, and we know that the health-related risk as well, associated risk, can really interrupt the tourism sector. So it's important that we become proactive and develop measures to help the industry to become resilient.
The consultation's primary goal is to develop a sectoral adaptation strategy and action plan, SASAP. The Sustainable Development Ministry, through its National Adaptation Plan, has already created SASAPs for other sectors, including agriculture, water, health, resilient ecosystems, and fisheries. The department is currently receiving assistance from the Green Climate Fund Readiness Project to develop plans for the remaining industries, education, infrastructure and spatial planning and tourism. These plans will ensure the viability of these sectors when faced with disasters and emergencies.
And today is the broad-based consultation that will allow stakeholders to rank the various priority areas and actions into short, medium and long-term actions that will help the sector going forward despite the adverse impacts of climate change, to allow us to cope and to allow us to thrive. We know that recently we would have heard of funding being acquired in other sectors like $10 million in the agriculture sector, and more recently $16.7 million in the fisheries sector, and that is coming out of these processes.
The deliberations will also explore options for donor funding for the plans.
So the idea is to develop actionable strategies, priorities as it relates to adaptation measures for enhancing tourism's response to climate change. So we're hoping today out of that we will develop those priorities, those actions and measures to help strengthen tourism's resilience to climate change, as well as to ultimately to develop this SASAP, which is the Sectoral Adaptation Strategy and Action Plan. Along with that, one of the key inputs is the development of concept notes or potential projects that can attract donor funding, so tourism can actually implement those projects. So apart from the plan, we hope to have this a number of project concept notes that can be used to implement in the long run. So we identify some short-term projects, medium-term as well as long-term.
Key outcomes of the consultation included participants developing a prioritized list of actions for inclusion in the SASAP to be executed over the next decade. They also created concept notes for projects that support the implementation of these prioritized measures within the SASAP. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.